Guys, all the cars that you see in these videos are for sale on my website, www.woodsandbarclay.com. Enjoy the video. All right, guys, here's another video on the 85 Smoke Silver Coupe. And today what we're working on is the rear window regulator. Now, we've already serviced and greased the passenger side, and that one works excellent. But the driver's side is going down and then just getting stuck. It's binding right here. So that's a very common problem, and it's really easy to fix. And the reason it happens is just due to a lack of lubrication. So we're actually going to go a little further on this side, and I've already removed this panel here. Let me show you. Oh, sorry, I got some dust on there. We've already removed the side panel for the rear window. You got to be very delicate doing that. You can break this if you don't know how to do it properly. But we've properly removed the panel from the rear seat. And what that gives us access to is back here. So we can get access to the motor here. You've seen that on the other side of the car when I did that. But on this side of the car, we're actually going to remove this plate right here and remove the entire window mechanism system so we can actually get it out and on the bench and re-lubricate the entire assembly. Okay, so what you see here, this is where, this is a protective, it's like a felt that's glued in place here. So we take this felt off, and then you have access to this panel. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this out of here. Okay, that one right there, that requires a socket. So we'll go ahead and get that undone. And once we go, see it's got the window scraper attached right there. So I need to put my camera down in order to pull that out. Okay, we've rolled up this window a little. That way we can squeeze the panel through here. And we have this access panel removed. Now behind the access panel, you have this little felt cloth. That's just a little protective layer. And we're actually just going to peel that off and pull it out, because we will glue that back in there. There you go. It just goes behind there like that. I think it's like a dust protector. So we laid those over there. We got our access panel, our like sound deadening material, and that little dust protector. And now we have access to the inside of this window, and we can go ahead and start disassembling things to pull all of this out and re-lubricate it. All right, guys, I'll record from over there, and we just want to get this panel out here. And I'll just put all my screws back in here so I don't lose them. Okay, so here's our mechanism. Now I want to roll the window down so I can access the screws to detach the window, because I want to pull out the glass, and that way I can then get access to the entire internal guts of the window and pull out the motor and the regulator. Okay, I actually see the problem. We have a little bracket right here that's slightly bent. And Mercedes actually welded in a reinforcement bracket in 85 to resolve this problem. But this one is just a little bit bent. So it's actually not a lubrication issue. I'm going to undo this arm here and just slightly bend our bracket back in place. And this will be good to go. All right, guys, let me show you. So you see with the bracket, the piece of metal with the X on it, that is what was welded in 1985. You can see the engineers actually welded in that bracket. And it was to reinforce this section right here from bending. Well, what we have here, this is bent just a little bit. Let's see. Okay, guys, there is a little clip right here, and that clip So I've already popped it loose, but that clip goes over the end of that stud, and the regulator arm clips onto it. So I popped that clip off, took the regulator arm off, and now we can move our window by hand because it's no longer attached to the regulator. So I'm going to go ahead and slip it up here to the top. Okay guys, upon further inspection of this rear window actuator, I found another problem. So I have the actuator, you know, the window motor, the guide, and this is the guide that goes on the other bar. There's a bar that's still in the car. I've taken it out of the driver's side. Now here are my spare parts. This is a driver's side actuator, the guide, and this sliding bracket here. Now, at first, we saw that this little bracket was bent forward. So I went ahead and straightened it out. You can see it's still a little bent. I don't like that. So you can see here's a perfect condition from my part stash. See how it's at a 90-degree angle there? And this is also from a 1985. It has the reinforcement bracket. So we're going to use this on the car. Now the other thing that I noticed, the guide is fine. You can see there's where I put grease in it. On the actual actuator arm, due to it being used for a few years with this being bent, it caused, there you go, see that actuator arm? See how it is bent away from the main arm right here? See, here's the main arm. See how it's bent away at like a maybe 20, 30 degrees? This is what it's supposed to look like. This one is not bent. See how that is perfectly flush? So I could put this in a vise and actually bend it back into shape, but I'll do that later and then keep that as a spare. And I'm going to go ahead and use my spare actuator. You can see this is fully greased and lubricated all in here, and this one is not bent. So that's what happened. That's why that window was getting stuck. So we're actually going to use this replacement piece and this replacement actuator. Now guys, these are very expensive and very hard to find, but because I do so many of these cars, I always make sure I have these parts in stock. So let's go ahead and get this reassembled into the car. And first I want to take this over to the parts washer. Actually, we don't need to use this one. That's my spare. But yeah, this one was in excellent condition. Let me look at the... Actually, I like the little rubber grommet a little bit better on my spare. So I'm just going to reinstall all these new parts. And these are the parts that came out of the car. First thing I want to do is take this to the parts washer. And I want to clean this out here and then grease it up really good before I put it back in the car. And also I want to make sure we get some grease down in here before we slip it back over the center support arm that this slides up and down on. All right, let's go ahead and do that. We're just going to clean out the inside of this track, make sure there's no debris down in here, get it very clean, and then we're going to lubricate it really nicely. Now I already did this on the other side of the car, but we didn't have to disassemble the other side because the actuator was not bent. There we go. See how nice and clean that is? That channel. It's very important to get any grime or dirt out of this channel. We're just going to lubricate this really good down in here. There we go. Let's just get that all down in here. There you go, guys. That is lubricated very well so the slider can go in there very smoothly, and this will be good for the next 30 years. All right, we're also just going to lubricate on the inside of our little bushings right here. So get down in there really good. Get it nice and lubricated so everything slides smoothly on there. There we go. All right, let's get this all back in the car with these fresh parts. Guys, it's really difficult to record this, but the actuator just slides right down inside the window. Remember, this is the piece that had the little bent arm. That one over there did. And this one, see how it's a perfect 90-degree angle? So we're going to go ahead and slip this in. We'll just let this drop down to the bottom. This is actually what the window attaches to, through this hole here and that hole here. All right, guys, and that's how that goes. We just slide it right over that bar. See our lubrication is on there. There we go. See how that slides? Whoops, sorry. That slides right over the bar like that. And there's the arm that was bent. That slides up and down. So we'll let that just slide down to the bottom. Now we need to get this piece in. And it's got a very strange curve to it, but that's the design. So you got to slide this down in there. And you actually just rest it down there at the bottom like that. So it actually attaches to this bolt hole right up here, but we need to get the window back in, and so you can't have it attached to get the window back in, because the window, you move this flap out of the way and the window slides in right through here, and then you bring that up and attach it to the slider that's on the window. Let me show you that slider. Okay, here is our window. This is the part that's inside the car. There's where it attaches to that center slider. And this is the device that goes into that channel that we just installed. So first we need to install the window and then slide that into the channel. All right, guys, remember that little channel I just slid down in there is not attached, because we need to first put the window back in. And you cannot do it unless that channel is detached. Now, the window just slides right back in here, like so. There you go. That's the only way you can get this window in. All right, we have it in the channel. Now I've got to go hold it while I reattach the arm that holds the window in place, that it slides on. So I'm going to stop recording and go inside and put in the 10mm bolts there. Okay, guys, I've got everything reassembled with a new bracket and a new motor actuator arm. And let's go ahead. I got the car cranked up because sometimes they don't move fast when you're just on battery. All right, let's go ahead and test it. Perfect. It made the turn in the arm perfect. There you go, guys. That's a perfect working coupe window. All right, let's go ahead and check the passenger side. Perfect. Look how smooth that is. We have both of these working absolutely fantastic.